angle in the front.
Welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live. You thought last night was enough? Emergency podcast. We have got a trade. The front office is alive. We got Jacob Junis a few days ago, and now the Rangers making one of the splashiest moves of the offseason. Who would have thought? With how this whole thing had unfolded thus far, the Rangers obviously going out to get all-star pitcher MacKenzie Gore. MacKenzie Gore, a guy that was thrown around in trade talks numerous times throughout the offseason. Here's the trade, by the way, if you haven't heard it. I'm sure most of the diehards have, but we'll say it for the casuals. MacKenzie Gore sent Gavin Fien, shortstop, number 2 prospect in the Rangers system per MLB Pipeline. Gavin Fien, a 2025 first-round draft pick. Alejandro Rosario, the Rangers' number 6 prospect. Devin Fitz-Gerald, number 12. Yeremy Cabrera, number 16. And Abimelec Ortiz, number 18. In terms of the Rangers system, right, there was really only one guy in the farm that made the top 100, and that was, of course, the guy everybody knows, Sebastian Walcott. So we really have to consider this move through that lens. The Rangers gave up one top 100 prospect. Actually, 0 top 100 prospects. Gavin Fien, probably the guy that is most notable. I don't really have a whole lot of issues, though, giving up an 18-year-old that has played extremely limited minor league baseball at this point and is probably still several years away from contributing. And no problem with it. And let me start with this rant in general on prospects. What's up to all y'all on TikTok? We'll be checking the comments quite a bit today after our opener. I have always made this very clear to all of y'all. Very, very clear. Give me the opportunity to have an all-star caliber player right now over prospects. Prospects so rarely pan out to be all-stars. I mean, look, I know that here at Right on Rangers and around the Rangers content world, there are a lot of amazing accounts that cover prospects. And by no means do I want to poo-poo those. Do I want to be negative towards prospect rankings? Cody Freeman came on the show and kind of lit it up a little bit. Dude is not a big fan of the prospect rankings. I'm kind of on his side. It's something fun to talk about, but it is rare that prospects become all-stars. You think about all the prospects in a major league system. I would love to see the numbers. How many actually end up becoming all-stars when you think about every player that's signed internationally, when you think about players that are drafted? It's not high. I would much rather have an all-star player right now and bank on win now mode than stockpile a bunch of prospects that may or may not even pan out. Who knows if Gavin Fien is going to even make it to the major leagues? That is what's crazy, y'all. There are so many first-round draft picks that never even make it to the majors. Win now mode, baby. I don't get anybody that is complaining about this trade. I don't get anybody complaining about this trade. I know some of y'all wanted to see a bat, and I'm there with you. I'm there with you. I would love to see the Rangers go out and get a bat. I still think there might be a chance at that. Andujar available, Luis Arise available. Antonio, I know you're not a big Arise fan, but it's good to see you nonetheless, bud. It's win now mode. It is. I think that the Rangers acquiring MacKenzie Gore immediately puts them right back in the driver's seat. Best rotation in the big leagues. You had the three-headed monster of DeGrom, Evo, Malley last year before Malley was hurt. Now you go ahead and fire it up with DeGrom, Evo, Gore, and I think throw Leiter in the mix. I'm like, look, MacKenzie Gore has been an all-star. MacKenzie Gore, one of the top prospects in all of baseball when he came into the league and was first drafted. I don't think we need to turn this into a Leiter Gore competition. My thought initially is Gore's going to be 3, Leiter's going to be 4, and I think that that's just fine. In some ways, I think it works out better for Jack Leiter, less pressure for him. You come into this season with DeGrom, Evo, Leiter, a lot of pressure on Leiter. A lot of pressure on Leiter to be that much better than what he was last year. I think this actually puts Leiter in a good spot where there's not as much attention on him. And I think there's going to still be a demand for him to take that next step and be good in 2026. But now you're not as Leiter dependent. And he's able, I think, to kind of just go out there with a little less on his shoulders. And maybe that continues to unlock the progression. I think that is the hope. So for me, overall, win for the Rangers. I don't understand anybody saying, the Nationals got some crazy haul. A lot of y'all are saying this. I don't want to claim this as my own take in my own words, although I was thinking it. Quality over quantity did not happen here. I think there's quantity. I think the Nationals clearly got 5 players, but in terms of the quality level, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any of the prospects that the Rangers sent away. I actually like a lot of those prospects. We follow here at Right on Rangers, and we cover a lot of them. Gonna miss some of those guys. Abimelec Ortiz was a rising star in the Rangers system. That being said, I think a lot of people, a lot of Rangers fans, were really overhyping Ortiz this year. Here's the bottom line. You don't know how a player is going to pan out when they get to the big leagues. You don't know. There was so much hype at the end of last year around Abimelec Ortiz, rightfully so. The dude was crushing the cover off of the baseball, especially when he got to AAA. Does that mean Abimelec Ortiz was going to come to major leagues and crush it? Absolutely not. There's no guarantee of that. And that goes along with my theme of there's no need to overly bank on prospects when you have the opportunity to win now with the context that the Rangers are currently in. You've got DeGrom, you've got Evo, you've got Seager. I posted about this yesterday. It makes no sense. It makes 0 sense to not trade top prospects to be better right now if you're going to keep Evo, DeGrom, and Seager on the roster. I don't even understand anybody that argues otherwise. If you're going to keep Evo, DeGrom, Seager, you have to do something to get better right now. Otherwise, start the rebuild. Trade those guys. I'm glad to see a day later, somebody must be listening. Somebody must be showing CY and company Right on Rangers tweets. And I know y'all have been loud about it too. You got to make the most of these DeGrom, Evo, Seager years. DeGrom and Evo have probably 2 at most really elite years left. And I hope they prove me wrong, by the way. This isn't meant to be disrespectful towards them. Prove me wrong. Have 4 more elite years to Jacob DeGrom. Have 4 more elite years, Nathan Eovaldi. Please. But realistically, 2 more years left with those guys, contract-wise. And then you've got Corey Seager, early 30s, probably 3 good years left of being elite. And from there, still being a good ball player, but the prime window is closing. Got to take advantage. Have to take advantage. I love the move today. I think it is an incredible transaction for Texas. I don't think that those prospects you're going to look back and really miss. I hope that for their sake, I'm not rooting for any of them to fail, But if I had to say right now, I just don't think you're going to be looking back in 2 or 3 years. Man, I wish we wouldn't have done this trade. I can't see it. I can't. All right, let's keep rolling. Kyle, what's good, man? Abimelec Ortiz being traded. Bummed about that. A lot of people have expressed this to me. I do think, and I'm not trying to be negative, I know it's going to come off that way. I think Abimelec Ortiz was really gassed up and hyped up at the end of last year. You and I both know there is no guarantee, even if a guy crushes it in AAA, there is no guarantee they're going to come to the big leagues and be good. Zero guarantee. Abimelec Ortiz, 18th ranked prospect. I know a lot of us loved what we saw in Round Rock at the end of last year. There's no guarantee that Abby Ortiz was going to come up and crush it this year. A lot of us hoped for that and wanted to believe that. But how many times have we seen a Rangers prospect kill it in AAA, kill it in Round Rock, and then come up to the big leagues and meh? I mean, it's all right. I think that we've seen that more often than not. And so for everybody that's bummed about Abimelec Ortiz, sure, he could go on to Washington, come up, get the call, and just become an all-star level player. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? I would say probably not at this point. There's a reason Abimelec Ortiz is 18th ranked in the Rangers system right now. I mean, look, does that make does that make any difference for some of y'all? I mean, we got to just say things out loud. Abimelec Ortiz is the number 18 prospect in the Rangers system. I mean, as much as we liked what we saw in Round Rock, I think he came in and hit 4 or 5 homers almost immediately. The translation to the big leagues, it's different for everybody, and I'm not willing to not do the MacKenzie Gore trade because Abby Ortiz hit 3 or 4 homers when he got to Round Rock right away. I'm not unwilling to do that trade because of a few homers in AAA. I'm just not. Brad, what's good, man? Thanks for hanging out. It's good to see you. Feels like it's been a second, brother. Good to see you. Cody Freeman was spot on. Rankings, that's true. They don't matter, but then again, neither do AAA stats. I think Cody Freeman would tell you the same thing. It doesn't really matter what you do in AAA. It helps get you to the big leagues, but who cares what you do in AAA? Are you going to produce at the major league level? And that's not a sure bet for anybody. That's not a sure bet for any prospect. Win now. And the Rangers got much closer to doing just that by acquiring MacKenzie Gore today. Much better. We keep rolling. Sign, Eugenio Suarez and have an offseason. If they go get Suarez, that might just break Rangers Twitter, man. That might break the Rangers internet as we know it. That would be a move. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're committed to Josh Young. I don't see a Suarez signing in the mix. Could be wrong on that. I didn't think they were going to trade for MacKenzie Gore, and here they are. But no, I don't think they're going to be going out and getting Gino Suarez. I don't think that's going to be the move. I think it's going to probably be a guy like Gandujar. We talked about him yesterday. Luis Arise. Ethan, my guy, I know you are high on Arise. I know some people are not, but you are, brother. You've been there for a while now. I'd be okay with either move. I'm not going to turn my nose up at anybody. Banking on bats to come back to form, but we've been saying that the last 2 years. Alejandro, I'm with you. I don't love the strategy with the bats of, hey, we hope the bats come back alive. We hope Josh Young figures it out. We hope Josh Smith learns how to become efficient in the second half as well as the first half. We hope Evan Carter stays healthy. Those are things that I don't love as a strategy going into 2026 in terms of the offense. It is kind of where they're at right now, though. Hate it or love it, I am more on the hate side than love it side, and that's nothing personal to any of these players. I like a lot of them, but would I love to acquire another bat? Absolutely. And although acquiring another bat is going to cost somebody playing time, I don't think that there's a whole lot of Rangers that would say no to bringing in a big bat had they brought in a Bo Bichette or a Cody Bellinger. Clearly, I think those were long shots coming into the season, into the offseason anyways. But I don't think any Rangers player would have complained if you want to bring in Cody Bellinger, if you want to bring in Bo Bichette. I think anybody, maybe the guy that's losing a little playing time privately complains about it. I think a lot of these players would love to see the team continue to get better and better. You don't think that a lot of these guys are reading the news tonight and loving bringing in MacKenzie Gore? Sure, it's sad to lose some of the prospects. Those are guys that obviously have formed relationships with a number of different players within the organization. But you think Jacob deGrom is sad that they are bringing in MacKenzie Gore? You think Nathan Eovaldi is sad that they're bringing in MacKenzie Gore? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Gore, I think, could be a number one if they coach him up. Ultramodern, good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out. Look, I posted about this on X. Here are my initial thoughts on Gore. For anybody that is looking at the ERA and kind of doing some stat line cherry picking, if you will, because MacKenzie Gore's ERA was over 4 last year, in the mid 4s, right? The FIP was actually lower than the ERA, meaning MacKenzie Gore got a little bit unlucky. Here are some of the things I think that you say out loud to qualify MacKenzie Gore's ERA a little bit. First of all, Washington's defense was one of the worst defenses in Major League Baseball last year. The Nationals were a bottom 5 defensive team. I think they were 26th out of 30. If I can remember off the top of my head looking this up, the Washington Nationals were a bad defensive team. When you have a bad defense behind you, you are not going to have as much success. And that's an argument that a lot of people have made the other way, for a guy like Patrick Corbin, for example. Why did Patrick Corbin have so much success? Well, yes, he was hitting his spots and he got better, but he also had one of the league's best defenses behind him. So when you think about MacKenzie Gore going from one of the worst defenses in Major League Baseball to one of the best defenses in Major League Baseball, I think you're going to see an uptick in some of the numbers. I also think Washington Nationals, their ballpark versus Globe Life Field. Globe Life Field is a pitcher's ballpark at this point. Maybe you weren't saying that in 2023. I think you've got to say it after watching 2024 and 2025. Globe Life is a pitcher's park. MacKenzie Gore is going to benefit from pitching in Arlington and getting to pitch there for 16 of his 32, hopefully, starts. MacKenzie Gore, I do believe, was better on the road than at home last year, pitching at Nationals ballpark. I also feel like you've got to look at the Rangers staff. You've got to look at the coaching. The Rangers have done an excellent job squeezing the absolute most out of nearly every acquisition that they have made pitching-wise. You think about Kirby Yates. You think about David Robertson. You think about Sean Armstrong. You think about Patrick Corbin. You think about Andrew Heaney. The Rangers do very well squeezing out as much success as they can out of guys that maybe the year prior were underperforming. So I do have faith that the coaching staff can unlock MacKenzie Gore even more than what he's already shown. And I know some of you may be bringing up Mike Maddox. I get it. For me, I think that it goes beyond Mike Maddox. I think Mike Maddox is great. I'm not trying to take any shine off of him. Let's be real. There's more than just Mike Maddox working with our pitchers. And I do think that the Rangers are going to be able to continue to have success in that department, coaching guys up, getting the most out of their pitchers, out of their arms. Those are my initial thoughts. I do think that MacKenzie Gore has all of the pedigree in the world. Now you're putting him in a pitcher's ballpark. You're putting him with a great pitching staff. You're putting him with a great coaching staff. I think there's just so many positives. Anybody that's negative, looking at the stat line and cherry picking, I just would encourage you to dig a little bit deeper. You look at some of the baseball savant numbers as well. We'll read them off to you right now. I mean, this is a guy that is elite at getting the swing and miss. MacKenzie Gore, 80th percentile in whiff percentage, 80th percentile in K percentage. You're looking at a guy that gets great extension off the mound. So, yeah, a lot of people pointed out 94, 95 fastball. Meh. I mean, look, when you are getting primo extension off the mound with 94 to 95, that fastball looks like 98, 99. And that's what Phil Maton, we were talking about Phil Maton on the show last night. That's what Phil Maton does so well. Maton is one of the premier extension guys in the game. And so, although Phil Maton only throws 90-91, when you're getting as good of extension off the mound as Phil Maton gets, that 90-91 looks a lot faster. A lot faster. And so, it's the same concept with MacKenzie Gore. You got 86th percentile in terms of extension. That 94-95 starts looking a lot faster. Gets on you a lot quicker. The breaking run value, 79th percentile. Man, this guy's got great stuff. A lot of bite on the off speed. This guy also has great fastball velo as well, above average, 95. Like I said, there's a lot to like here. The walk rate needs to be better. He was 28th percentile in walk rate. These are some of the concerns. He is a bit of a fly ball pitcher. The ground ball rate was not great last year, but the good news is you're pitching at Globe Life where fly balls go to die. Home run balls go to die. Hey, look, that is the good news with him as you look at some of these numbers and as you break them down. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. That's why you put him on this Ranger staff. You put him with this coaching staff, and I think you feel really, really good. Keep going. He's going to have Evaldi and DeGrom helping him out. Absolutely. Teagues and those two pitch. Yep, I agree with you there, Mike. Good to see you, brother. Matt, I'm with you 100% on that. Globe Life has absolutely become a fly ball killer. Home runs go to die at Globe Life Field on the Globe Life track, man. They do. So the fact that Gore is a little bit of a fly ball pitcher at this point, he gets a lot of swing and miss, but when they are making contact, they're hitting it in the air. You play at Globe Life, that's helpful. That is helpful. Look, Alejandro, I do kind of wonder what would MacKenzie Gore do if, what could he achieve with Mike Maddox? This is going to be a really interesting year. I know a lot of people were upset to see Mad Dog, see Mike Maddox take off. For me, I think that it is actually going to go better than what some of the doubters think. Alejandro, I'm not saying you're doubting per se, but I think there are some people that see Mike Maddox leaving as a big-time negative and worry that the Rangers pitching is going to drop off without him. I think the infrastructure is still there with Texas in the pitching, even though you lose the figurehead, Mike Maddox. And when I use the term figurehead, I'm not saying that he was just the rah-rah guy at the top and didn't contribute. I think he contributed quite a bit. But I still think the infrastructure is there with the Rangers coaching staff on the pitching side of things. They're going to be just fine. Just fine. Hey, by the way, repost a comment. I'm going to keep checking things as we go along. An extension with Gore would be big. I don't think you're going to see it right away, but if you can figure it out, I think that you definitely at least see what Gore's number is. I'm a fan of extending guys like this before you let him hit the open market. Let's be real. With baseball the way it is right now, we were talking about Wyatt Langford on the show last night. When these guys hit the open market, you just don't see a lot of guys taking hometown discounts, team-friendly deals. I think it is the path right now. You've got to get a hold of these guys when they're younger. You've got to throw the money at them and get a hold of them before the Dodgers and Blue Jays and Red Sox and all of those big teams with big pockets. Get a hold of these guys. I'm glad to see they're making moves too, TLC. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that it's great to see them trying to contend, especially, like I said, if you're going to keep Seager, if you're going to keep DeGrom, if you're going to keep Evaldi, you have to actually maximize that. And what do you do to maximize it? If you're not going to spend big-time cash on the open market, you got to trade some prospects to get some of these guys like Gore that are going to be able to help you out in a big way without breaking the bank. I think MacKenzie Gore is making like $5 or $6 million this year. It's not a lot. And that actually is helped out quite a bit by the fact that he had a 4-something ERA, 4.17. A 4.17 ERA. There you go. All right, let's keep things rolling. Let me see here. What else do we got? Best rotation in the American League. Sam, I'm with you. Look, what would be the better rotation? DeGrom, Evo, and then Gore, and then Leiter. What's the better rotation? That's what I'd be curious about. I'd love to hear what the objective opinion is on this. I'm not really sure what rotation is a whole lot better. I mean, the Mariners, McJ, you make a good point. And I like a lot of the Mariners pitchers. Gilbert, you got Castillo, you got Kirby. I still put DeGrom, Evo, and I put Gore over that tandem or over that trio, whatever you want to call it. Aiden, I'm not with you on Mariners. I don't think that, Gilbert is better than what you're getting out of DeGrom and Evo. I don't think Kirby is better than DeGrom or Evo. Castillo, I don't think that at this point he pushes them over the top. The Mariners have a very good pitching staff. I'm not trying to hate or be disrespectful. I actually like a lot of those guys, enjoy watching them pitch as long as they're not pitching against Texas. But I don't think you can put them over DeGrom, Evo, and Gore at this point in the game. Throw Bradford in there. I like Cody Bradford. I'm a little hesitant to put Cody Bradford as a name you prop up as a reason why the Rangers have one of the best rotations. Cody was really, really good at times in 2024. We talked about Cody Bradford's home road splits being a little concerning. He was dominant at Globe Life, had a lot of struggles on the road in that 2024 season. I like Cody Bradford. I'm not trying to knock him down a few pegs, but I think he's not quite in that discussion at this moment in time. Cade Anderson, McJ, that might push them over the top. That might. Rangers will finish next to last. Astros fan, what are we here? Come on now, bro. I mean, if you're going to make that bold of a claim, it's got to be Astros. It's got to be something like that. Come on now. I don't think anybody is going to agree with you on that point, even objectively. At this point, the Rangers with this move, I really have a tough time seeing them finishing any worse than third. I mean, you're assuming guys stay healthy, of course, when you make a prediction like this. But look, there was a point, I think, where you could have convinced me without this Gore move that maybe the Rangers finish fourth. Maybe the A's overtake them a little bit. I think with this move, starting pitching's king, man. I think that this does ensure, at minimum, they're going to be behind the Astros and the Mariners. Obviously, the ceiling is higher than that, but I think that's the floor. I don't think they're finishing any lower than third place. I do have a Discord for this page. I think I've shared with you guys. I'm not trying to do a shameless plug right now, but somebody brought it up. The only thing I've monetized on the channel, on the account, is the Discord. And so, look, if you want to join the Discord, I'd love to have you. It's $2.99 a month. You got to join in the YouTube membership page, or you can subscribe on TikTok. I would love to get you in. And that just goes to support me and the work that I do here at Right on Rangers. The videos, the time, all that good stuff, my equipment. It's getting better and better with each passing day. But look, that's the one thing that I monetize. So if you'd want to join the Discord, become a member, become a subscriber, $2.99 a month. Would love to have you. I'll get you into the Discord right after the show. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for considering it. But look, if it's not for you, no hard feelings. Keep on doing what you're doing. Coming to the lives, commenting, supporting the show. It means a lot. All right. Let me see. I think they've got to start Rocker in AAA or try him out as a medium high leverage reliever. Rocker has the velo to be a Mason Miller type. Look, I think there's one thing about Rocker that I feel very strongly about. Look, Sam, I think I agree with you. Starting Rocker in AAA probably would not be the worst decision here. I disagree with the idea of making him a reliever, and I want to explain why. For anybody that's kind of throwing out, Rocker, high-end reliever, nasty off speed, high octane velocity. What's not to like putting him in the bullpen? I think you have to consider this from an organizational front office perspective. Rocker is infinitely more valuable to you as a starting pitcher. And this was your first round pick in the draft in 2022. He's got the pedigree. He would be so much more valuable keeping him as a starter than turning him into a reliever. And I'm not saying he wouldn't have success in the bullpen. I'm just saying, I think the chances of them converting him to a relief pitcher are very slim. I think you want to keep the value high on Kumar Rocker. I think you instantly cheapen the value moving him to the bullpen. They want to see this guy become a bona fide ace starting pitcher, and I think a lot of Rangers fans do too. But even if it doesn't happen in Ranger red, white, and blue, you want Rocker being attractive as a starting pitcher. If you're looking to trade him at some point to further upgrade the team, whatever the case may be, I just do not see them moving Kumar Rocker to the pen, even if it makes sense in theory. I think organizationally it would be a foolish move. You want the value to stay high there. Antonio, I'm with you. He has to continue to be given some runway. We think about the runway they gave to Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter, 2021 draft pick, right? And he finally popped in 2025, 4 years later. 4 years later. And he had to make a couple of trips to the developmental league in Arizona while he was at it. I mean, Rocker is 2022 draft pick. He missed the first year because of Tommy John, major injury. So actually, this is like 2023 almost. If we're comparing the Jack Leiter, time frame, it's like Kumar Rocker just had like his second year basically in the Rangers system. Jack Leiter didn't pop till year 4. Kumar Rocker just, for all intents and purposes, finished year 2 if you consider he was drafted a year behind Leiter and he missed the first year after he was drafted with injury. He's basically gotten 24 and 25. Leiter got 21, 22, 23, 24, and finally popped in 25. I think if you look at the trajectories of both players, Kumar Rocker has to be given at minimum 2 more years before you make any kind of crazy decisions about him as a ball player. 2 more years. So I don't think starting him in AAA is the worst thing in the world. He definitely has the endurance of a starter. I'm very curious to see how he does in spring training. Matt, I'm 100% with you. Control is the biggest factor here, I think, with Kumar. You've got to see him control the strike zone. That off-speed pitch is filthy, but you've got to be able to paint it on the black at times, and you've got to be in the zone enough to tempt hitters when it comes to throwing those off-speed pitches. We keep on going. On YouTube, you have to, lives going with different amounts of viewers. Not sure if that causes you confusion. No, it's actually all streamlined for me. TLC, it's good. Like there's a landscape mode, and then there's like a portrait mode. So like there's people on their computers. They get like the landscape mode. It's kind of blacked out on the sides. And then all y'all on your phones right now, you get your own view. So there's like 2 separate streams. I don't know. StreamYard told me that it was better for views. I'm trusting them. Whatever the case may be. All the comments go to the same place, though, so that's nice. Yeah, Rocker's essentially 2 years in pro ball. Where would I see Andujar fitting into the lineup? T-Money, what's good? I think he'd be splitting time with, like, Jock Peterson at DH, and I think he'd be splitting time maybe with a guy like Evan Carter. If they decide to platoon Evan Carter again, I think they are going to try and get Evan Carter some everyday reps, but if you need to give Evan Carter a day off, which I think they'll do. I think they will be playing the maintenance game a little bit with Evan Carter this year. I don't think they're going to try and play him every single day. So look, there's a tough lefty on the mound. Evan Carter's been playing 7-8 games in a row. You give him a day off and you let Andujar hit in his place, play some outfield. I don't think you start Jock Peterson against any lefties. I think Andujar would be the obvious choice to put in the DH spot if you were to go sign a player like him. So for me, I'm all in on Andujar getting signed. I think that would be a big-time move. The Rangers were one of the worst teams when it came to OPS against left-handed pitchers last year. Andujar fills an immediate hole. The dude crushed lefties. I think he had a 986 OPS against lefties last year, and it was pretty good in 2024 as well. This is a guy that hits over 300. I think he was at 298 in 2024, so wasn't a fluke season last year hitting over 300. The 300 hitters are rare in this league. I think you have an opportunity to go get a guy like Andujar. You make it happen. I do wonder, though, now that you've got the Bo Bichette deal done, you got the Bellinger deal done, now I think Andujar, he's played this well. He's one of the best bats available now. And because he's waited it out, you wonder if he's going to get paid a little bit better than what he would have otherwise. So my only fear with Andujar in terms of the Rangers signing him is now that a lot of big bats are off the market, you basically got a rise in Andujar and Eugenio Suarez. You got those three guys that are available right now. Look, tell me if I'm missing somebody. Tell me if I'm missing somebody. I think those are the three best bats on the market at this point. I think that Andujar has probably played himself into a nice little payday, whether that's 3 years, 24 million, making 8 mil a year. I don't think he gets to double digits, but I saw projections anywhere from 5 mil to 8 mil and anywhere from a 1 to a 3 year deal. We'll see what happens. But I do think he's playing this offseason well. With Bellinger going off the market, he is now one of the best outfielders available. And so we'll see what he ends up getting paid. Keep on going. Just a little under 200 million. Surely there's some decently big move made soon. Well, here's what's interesting, right? Abimelec Ortiz was on the 40-man. Rosario was on the 40-man. And so you had the Rangers at 40. They had made a move to get down to 40 after they had acquired Junis. So you add Gore. By my estimation, there's one 40-man spot currently available. So, look, I don't know how much you can read into it, but that tells me a bat could be coming. That tells me that you could be adding a bat. There's, I think, one 40-man spot that's still up for grabs. Not sure they're going to be adding anybody from AAA. You would like to think that that last 40-man spot is probably going to a hitter, and hopefully one of excellent caliber, whether that is Andujar. I think that would be the preferred choice, or a Rise. I would take a Rise. I know some people are poo-pooing a Rise and, whatever, he singles hitter, doesn't play defense. Dude, a Rise would be a nice addition to the lineup. I think that if anything, you appreciate the consistency that a Rise gives you. The guy puts the ball in play. He doesn't strike out. There's no bad stretches of bad at-bats with Luis Arraez. So I think Andujar would be my number one. I think Arraez would be number two for me. I think that either one would be great. I'm not turning my nose up at either guy. Would love it. Absolutely. Keep on going. How do I think that Skip is going to do as a manager? He wasn't good with the Marlins. Alex, look, I don't know. I think we might be looking back on that a little too negatively. Skip was 2023 Manager of the Year, right? I mean, Skip won Manager of the Year with the Marlins. He took the Marlins to the playoffs. And I forget what the stat was. I made a video on this. It was like very much improbable when you looked at the Marlins numbers. Like, how did Skip get these guys to the playoffs? I am blanking. It's been a long day at work, y'all. I'm blanking on what the number was, but there was a stat that I discovered, and basically it made it even more impressive that Skip actually took that 2023 Marlins team to the playoffs. I think that you have to consider that Skip Schumacher, first of all, was working with limited talent in Miami. They had some decent players, but it wasn't a juggernaut of a roster. Now you give him some really, really solid vets. Corey Seager, Brandon Nimmo. And of course, the Rangers have some good up-and-coming young players. Wyatt Langford at the top of that list. But I think you give him a great pitching staff, Evaldi, DeGrom, Gore. I think Skip is going to do good things with Texas this year. And really beyond that, too. Remember, Skip is on for what? A 3 or 4 year contract? And this isn't a 1 or a 2 year deal. I believe it's a 4 year contract. Somebody correct me on that. At minimum, it's 3, if not 4. Bummed that FanFest got canceled. Gary, I'm with you on that. Look, I understand there's a storm coming this weekend in the DFW area and through a lot of different parts in the country. I don't at all fault the Rangers for canceling FanFest. My beef is, could we get an alternative? Could we get an alternative? And I don't want to go on about this forever. I don't want this to take a negative turn, but I understand the cancellation. work out something else for the fans. Look, kids are dreaming of this stuff, man. Look, when I was growing up, I don't really remember teams doing fan fests. Maybe I just was living under a rock, but I don't remember all these pop-ups and fan fest stuff going on. If I was a kid right now living in Arlington, living in the DFW area, I'm sure there's a ton of kids that were absolutely pumped about FanFest, and now you canceled it. So for me, come up with an alternative, right? Come up with some kind of alternative. Maybe there's less players involved. I was reading Evan Grant's article, and it seems like right now, I mean, this is straight from Evan Grant's article. There's apparently not a lot of financial incentive for players to do these types of events. They got to travel from wherever their off-season home is. I don't think Evan Grant was trying to paint the players in a negative light, but I think if you read between the lines, it's hard not to have that opinion. So basically, like these guys, they're not really financially incentivized to do these events, and it kind of puts a damper on their travel plans for the off season. So it was just like I felt like a little bit of a negative slant. I don't think Evan intended that when he was writing it, but I don't know how else you're taking it. For me, I think that the Rangers need to do right by the fans, and I hope that they come up with some kind of alternative for FanFest. I think that would be the right thing to do 100%. We keep on going. Let's see. It would be interesting to discuss, was there an issue in the clubhouse? Seems like there was. Curious Marcus was odd man out. There was a little bit of clubhouse turmoil. I mean, that's been reported. And Marcus and Corey are different players. I will say this. Look, I don't have any crazy sources in the locker room. Clearly, we had Cody Freeman on the show. I didn't talk to Cody about this either. But I've got a couple of different sources, and Corey Seager is beloved in the clubhouse. I think that you think about Corey Seager, there's a lot of guys that respect the hell out of that guy and also really like Corey Seager. I think, whatever you think about the Corey Seager, Marcus Semien drama, as I've done more research and dug into it further, Corey Seager, definitely the guy that I think a lot of Rangers players really, really appreciate having around. Not to say that Marcus didn't have any people in his corner either, but Corey Seager is a love figure in that clubhouse. So, look, if you're thinking about just the clubhouse environment, I don't think that a lot of people right now are feeling like the clubhouse has any kind of bad vibe. I think vibes are up in the Rangers clubhouse. I don't think there's any weirdness going on. Marcus Semien, great player. Look, definitely a guy that you can point to as being very, very responsible for 2023 and the World Series run. I mean, look, he was top 3 in MVP voting that year, as was Corey Seager. I think you always are going to appreciate Marcus Semien, a heart and hustle guy. But I don't think there's anything weird in the clubhouse right now. I think the vibes are up. I think guys are feeling good about Skip. And I think from that perspective, anything else is kind of just fan musing. I don't think anybody internally is worried about clubhouse vibes. Keep on going. Yeah, Mike, this is what I've largely found out. I think there are some people that think about Corey Seager and the quiet nature in which he carries himself. Not a big rah-rah guy, not a big media guy. Doesn't mean Corey Seager doesn't get absolutely pumped out of his mind when he hits a game-tying homer. We saw it happen in Game 1. But Corey is not going to be at the front of the media. He's not going to be at the front of the team, speaking for everybody. It's just not his style. But he's a very loved figure in the clubhouse. And so I don't think there's anything weird going on clubhouse-wise. Keep going. What if Rangers add a guy like Gallen? Whew. I think that probably is not realistic at this point. I think Zach Gallen is going to command a pretty good yearly salary. I don't think that anybody's thinking about Zach Gallen at this point. I think it would probably be Bat over a Zach Gallen ad. You could maybe go out and get one more guy to really eat up innings, that's not going to be Zach Gallen. So for me, I think you're either adding a bat or you're adding an innings eater or you're adding both. I think that is probably the checklist. I know that there's some people that are frustrated that you're not adding a lockdown closer. We talked about this on the show last night. You're not going to be able to go out and cherry pick a lockdown closer. There's not that many of them. And the ones that are available are costly. It's usually you're overpaying. Think about the Hader deal. The Astros paid Hader triple-digit millions. And I don't think a lot of us look at that contract as super worth it. Remember, the Rangers were in the Josh Hader sweepstakes a couple of years ago. I think overpaying for a closer is not very wise. And if you can develop a closer internally, that is preferable. I said it on the show last night, our weekly show. This is a bit of an emergency pod, right? But I said it last night. I think that if the Rangers can go into this season with a set guy in the ninth inning, that would be very wise. I don't think going into the season closer by committee is a great call. Historically, I don't think it works out great. And so for me, I hope somebody in spring training really, really demonstrates an ability to lock down late innings. And I hope the Rangers go into this year, hey, Jacob Junis is the closer. Hey, Cole Winn is the closer. Corniel is the closer. Whoever, right? I hope that the Rangers just can go into 2026 with a guy they feel very confident in. Maybe you give them a little bit of rope. Obviously, you got to make changes if it's not going great, but I hope the Rangers can lock somebody down, nail somebody down as the ninth inning guy, so there's not confusion. I feel like closer by committee creates like unnecessary anxiety and angst because all those guys back in the pen, you just don't ever know what your role is going to be from day to day, right? If you go closer by committee, one day you got the eighth inning. One day you got the seventh inning. Okay, the matchups say now we need to throw you in the ninth inning. I don't like that. I think it's much better when guys know what their role is. Hey, I'm a seventh or eighth inning guy. Hey, I'm the ninth inning guy. I get the outs when we're up, when we're trying to save a game. I think that would be wise. We'll see what the Rangers decide to go with. Keep on rolling. The Rangers need to bring back that magic, especially with the Astros' recent acquisition. They're trying. The MacKenzie Gore move is definitely a step. JJ, what's good, man? We need consistency in the bullpen. Skip isn't like Boch with the pen. Yeah, Boch was very feel-oriented, mix and match. Look, Robert Garcia probably stuck with him a little too long. Luke Jackson, ditto. You wish that he would have gone with Sean Armstrong a lot sooner. I felt the most confident with Armstrong in the ninth inning. We'll see what happens, but I'd like to see a little more stability and consistency in the pen this year. Can't seem to sign up through YouTube. Is it the same on TikTok? It is the same on TikTok. I'll look. Rolando, I don't know if there is a button that says join anywhere. I don't know what you're on, whether you're on computer, whether you're on phone. But there should be a button somewhere that says like join, something like that. Try that out. I'll drop the link for the YouTube sub to become a member in the chat as well for you guys. Copy and paste that into a browser of your choice. But yes, on TikTok, there is a subscription option as well. So look, anyway, man, and I'll be happy to help you out. DM me on TikTok or something. We'll figure it out, brother. All right. Appreciate you trying. Sorry you're having some technical difficulties, man. What are my thoughts on MacKenzie Gore? Positive. Very good trade for Texas. Anybody saying they got, Nationals fleece the Rangers? What? What? Come on now. Look, the Rangers have one top 100 prospect, and that guy is Sebastian Walcott. And you didn't give up Sebastian Walcott. So at this point, I think that you are more than okay with what you gave up. Absolutely. There's no way around it. All right, we keep on rolling. What else we got? Is Robert Garcia still on the team? Yes, he is. Robert Garcia is still on the team. He look, some people were saying Robert Garcia might be a closer. Okay. Robert Garcia as closer is not something that I want to think about, but some people feel like he might get another shot at it. I hope not. I would like to see Robert Garcia as lefty specialist. If you look at Robert Garcia and the numbers, it's not like crazy splits, but Robert Garcia, when he had to face right-handed batters, the walk rate just went through the roof. He was much more controlled facing lefties. The numbers just looked much better against lefties than righties. For me, I'm not saying that you never let Robert Garcia face a righty, but I think you match him up with lefties a little bit better at this point. Yeah, right, Brian. Get out the Pepto-Bismol, get out the heartburn medication, get the barf bag ready, as we like to say. I'm not a big fan of Robert Garcia in the 9th inning. I think he is a great pitcher in the 7th inning, in the 8th inning, and I think you should match Robert Garcia up against lefties if at all possible. I'm not a big fan of him being a 9th inning guy. I think you got to have a little bit more wisdom and discernment where you use him. I don't think Robert Garcia is hey, he's pitching the 9th inning no matter what every single day. I think he's a guy you say, hey, we got 2 lefties coming up in the 7th. Let's throw him in there and let's let him get through the 7th inning and bridge it to the 8th, 9th. That's what I'd like to see them do. Scarborough cracked the top 100. Okay, good. Mace, I knew you would be there to help me out. So you didn't give up Scarborough. You didn't give up Walcott. You gave up nobody in the top 100. Okay. I think you've got to think about these things and say them out loud. The Rangers didn't give up a single top 100 prospect. I mean, at this point, I just don't know how you could be saying that they didn't get fleeced. I mean, how could you be saying that they got fleeced? Excuse me. You didn't give up a single one of your prospects that were actually in the top 100. Yeah, Mike, I'm high on Cawley as well, especially after Cody Freeman came on the show. I did a lot more research into Cam Cawley. I really liked Cam. I mean, coming into this season, I'll admit I didn't have him like in our top 5 or anything as I thought about prospects. But look, after Cody Freeman's pep talk last week, basically saying prospect lists are really eyewash ultimately, I'm opening up my viewpoint a little bit on this. I'm expanding my horizons. Cam Cawley, gamer. I'd love to see him in the top 100 soon enough. Let's see. Brian hated that Fien was in the trade, was hoping he could have developed into something with us in a few years. Yeah, Brian, I'm not at all here to talk down Gavin Fien. I think Gavin Fien is probably going to be a really good baseball player, but Gavin Fien is just so far away from contributing. I don't think you're going to see Gavin until 2029, 2030 at earliest. And right now, I don't think that you can just stockpile him, in the minor leagues. I mean, maybe I'm way off on that estimation. Maybe we're going to see him up a little bit sooner. And honestly, playing with the Nationals, he may get streamlined a little bit more. We'll see what happens with Gavin Fien. I'm okay with the move. Look, I'll trade an 18-year-old to get an all-star level player 9 times out of 10. I mean, maybe even higher than that. 9.9 times out of 10. I'm trading an 18-year-old that hasn't hardly played any professional baseball to get a guy that's done it at the highest level and been an all-star. We keep going. Yeah, this is a great point. Think about Emiliano Teodo. I think he still has a lot of promise, but Teodo is a great example of the ebbs and flows of prospect lists. You got guys that are vaulted up to the top, and then they get a little bit of a taste of the big leagues. They struggle a little bit in AAA, and all of a sudden, they're not even in the top 5 anymore. That's just how it goes. Really don't know why they didn't ask for Luis Garcia as well, since we're giving them 5 prospects. I mean, look, I think they got some good players. I'm not at all saying, hey, they got a bunch of trash. I think Abby Ortiz, I think Rosario, Fien, I think a lot of these guys, Fitz-Gerald, these guys are all promising players. I'm not sure they're going to turn into all-stars. That is their story to write. But I don't think you can look at the prospects that we gave up and say, man, Nationals fleeced us, man. We didn't give up a single prospect that's currently ranked in the MLB top 100. And we only have two, right? Scarborough and Walcott. The fact that you didn't have to give those two players up is huge. It's huge. Keep on going. Rolando, appreciate you, man. Let me see if I just missed that. But, man, I appreciate you signing up through TikTok. That's awesome. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you, by the way, for everybody that's followed along. Means a lot. Thank you so much. Appreciate all you guys. We got several new followers. If you haven't hit that follow button yet, let's go. What you waiting for, man? This is what we do every week. We just talk ball, talk Rangers baseball. More specifically, we cover a couple of other teams in different sports. A lot of DFW. We cover the Cowboys. We cover the Mavs. Cover the Texas Longhorns here on the show. But it's baseball season, man. Football, I mean, look, we obviously got playoffs still in the NFL. But for all intents and purposes, it is baseball season. I am so ready for spring training to get here, especially now with MacKenzie Gore being a Texas Ranger. Can't wait to see that dude take the mound in Ranger red, white, and blue. That's going to be fun. A lot of fun. Mike, I'm a Fitz-Gerald fan, man. I thought he was kind of a guy on the rise. Again, it's his story to write. Maybe he will, just be a solid major leaguer. Maybe he becomes an all-star. Who knows what these guys' potential really is. It's a different ball game when you get to the major leagues. We know this. I think when you consider all things and really rope this all into the context that is the Rangers in 2026, you've got DeGrom, you've got Seager, you've got Evo, all with limited time left in their primes. You have to maximize it, even if that means giving up some of the prospects that you like, that are potentially high on the list of whatever, MLB or the Rangers prospect list. And you got to be willing to give it up. And you got to go and try to be in win now mode as much as possible when you're trying to maximize what Evo, DeGrom, Seager have left in the tank. What's good, Austin? Do you think this makes us a contender for the AL now? Lock, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you, buddy. I think that this definitely moves the needle closer to contender. I think you got to go out and get a bat for me to really be able to get up here and say they've got a shot. I think that having the three-headed monster, four-headed if you really think Leiter makes a crazy jump, but having the three-headed monster of DeGrom, Evo, Gore has to at least make you feel really good about the Rangers' potential to make the playoffs. That being said, I need to see another bat added for me to really feel confident about the Rangers being a World Series contender. And maybe some people were pointing this out to me on X as we were tweeting and posting about some of the MacKenzie Gore stuff earlier today. Maybe that move comes at the deadline. If the Rangers are in a playoff spot and you know what, you kind of want to push all the chips into the table, into the center of the table, maybe the deadline is the time when the Rangers go out and get a bat. That is a possibility. I'd still like to see them do it at the beginning of the season. I don't want to get into any kind of spot where there's ambiguity. Are the Rangers buyers or sellers? I hate that at the deadline, the last 2 years, the Rangers have been in this weird spot where they're not in a playoff position and they've decided to buy, and it's end up working out really poorly. I don't want the Rangers to be in that spot again. I'd love for them to be confidently in playoff position, and you feel really good about buying if you're in that kind of spot. You're 2 or 3 games out. Yeah, there's an argument to be a buyer, but that just hasn't worked out great the last 2 years. And so that's why I say go out and get somebody right now. Go out and get a bat right now so you are confidently in a playoff spot at the end of July. Not trying to build yourself into that at the deadline. All right, we keep going. Let me see. Matt, appreciate the compliment. Look, there's a lot of great Rangers content out there. So I just want you guys to know I'm a big fan of a lot of different Rangers accounts. But I appreciate the kind words, brother. Thank you, everybody, for the support of the channel. It's getting a little bit bigger each and every year, and you guys are a big part of that. So thank you so much. Keep rolling. Don't get me wrong on Fitz-Gerald. I'm all for the trade. Think it was a masterclass. Kept your bluish chips. Mike, well said. Well said. Keep on going here. Yeah, TLC makes a good point. So the comment is basically, we should have been sellers the past 2 years. TLC, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but knowing you, I think that's where we're all at, right? They should have probably sold the last 2 years. They decided to competitively kind of force the issue, and it just didn't go well. How would you like to have Mitch Bratt and Cole Drake and David Hageman in your system? That would be a lot for the Rangers to play with. You could go out and make another trade right now if you still had Bratt, Drake, and Hageman. So it's painful from that perspective. I think CY is building it back up to a point where the Rangers have made a couple of good trades in a row. I think the Nimmo trade was good. I think this trade was great. It's helping ease the pain a little bit, but I'm still not completely over trading Bratt and Drake and Hageman for a half season, not even a half season of Merrill Kelly, who went right back to the Diamondbacks. 2026 prediction is I get 10,000 subscribers. I think I might die and go to heaven if in 2026, over the course of this season, I get up to 10K. I might die and go to heaven, seriously. That would be awesome. Right now, we're at 11K on TikTok. We're at about 25 hundo on YouTube. I think we're getting closer to like 15,000 subscribers collectively across everything. 10K on YouTube would be wild. I'm going to have like a pretty viral video, I think, for that to happen. But you know what? Right now, I'm good with just a little bit more each day. I love it. And again, you guys are a huge part of that. So thank you. Keep on rolling. Hoping for a relatively healthy season for DeGrom. I don't want to put anything negative in the air. I really felt confident Jacob DeGrom was going to have a really healthy 2025. I don't feel not confident that is going to happen this year, but I do feel like historically the second year after Tommy John is sometimes an interesting one. I would love to see Jacob DeGrom go back-to-back, no IL stints. That would be crazy and good for him. Do I think we bring Coulomb back? I don't think we do bring Coulomb back unless he wants to take some kind of team-friendly deal. What I'm seeing is more value buys. I think if the Rangers do add another bullpen piece, I think it's going to be a value piece. I'm kind of curious if the Rangers go with some AAA guys. Like, I think about a guy like Peyton Gray. He pitched really well last year in AAA. The Rangers had several dudes that kind of went under the radar, but actually pitched really well in AAA. I really wonder if they're going to promote some guys internally. Like Peyton Gray got a spring training invite. A couple other guys on the AAA team from last year got spring training invites. I'm really curious to see if the Rangers do some internal promotion at this point. I mean, you got to remember, you still got Corniel in the mix. I think that the Rangers may fill the remaining bullpen spots with internal pieces. We forget about Mark Church as well. I think Mark Church might be a guy that you bring up. There's also Spores. We'll see if Josh Spores can get back to form. I feel like the Rangers aren't going to break the bank on any more relief pitchers. You've got some guys, right? Collier, absolutely. Gavin Collier, a follower of Right on Rangers, man. I feel almost bad that the name didn't roll off the tongue. You've got some guys internally that I do feel like will get a shot at promotion. That's not to say that the Rangers won't still add anybody else, but I don't think the Rangers are going to go out and pay for a Coulomb type when you've got a number of different guys that you can promote internally. Curvello is another one. So for me, I think it's probably going to be internal promotion over going out and getting a Danny Coulomb. Sign a bat. AJ, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. Andujar, or perhaps you go and get a guy like Arise. That would be nice. Texas Rangers enthusiast, what's good? Do I think Gore's mechanics and velocity will improve? I do think he's going to pick up some stuff. I do think that Gore will no doubt benefit from Evo, will no doubt benefit from DeGrom on staff. I think the pitching, coaching staff will also help take Gore to the next level. I'm very, very bullish on MacKenzie Gore improving on the numbers from 2025. Very bullish. Alstrom's another guy. Again, yeah, Gray, Alstrom, again, Collier. You think about a guy like Mark Church. You think about Corniel, Curvello, all these guys. There's a lot of dudes that I think the Rangers probably have their eyes on promoting over going and spending $6 million, $8 million, whatever, on another reliever on the open market. I do really like Danny Coulomb. Don't get me wrong. If we could sign him for $2 or $3 million, that would be phenomenal. But I think Danny is probably going to go where he can get the most money at this point, and I don't think that's going to be with Texas. All right, we keep on going. Do I think Rocker ends up in the pen? Weston, no. We talked about this earlier on the show. Rocker is infinitely more valuable as a starting pitcher to the organization. I think they would have to be pretty desperate to move Kumar Rocker to the bullpen. Ezekiel, what's good? Wonder what happened to Kim, the one from South Korea. I think he's still in the mix, isn't he? Mace, if you're still hanging out, you might have a little bit more insight on Kim. But I'm pretty sure he's still in the mix. Now, I know he got bumped down a little bit on the prospect list, but I think he's still up there. I didn't think that he dropped crazy. I think he's number 20 now, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was right around there. Yeah, he is 20. He's at number 20 right now. Look, there's just still a number of guys that I think are really attractive long-term for Texas. I know that this prospect system, the farm system, is not really, really lauded or praised in the national media, but the Rangers do have some dudes that I think are going unrecognized in the farm system. I'm not saying it's the best farm system in baseball. I do think it's a little bit underrated. I think if you really look at some of the dudes that the Rangers have, I do think that there are some guys that are potentially going to be impact players at the major league level. There's a lot yet to be written, but I do think that the Rangers farm system is a bit underrated at this point. Luis Ariz, possibly. I don't think, Weston, that losing the prospects from today is going to be like any kind of major hurt, but you never know. But if I was betting, I would say, no, I don't necessarily look at those 5 guys and see a future Hall of Famer in the mix. That would be the most hurtful thing. But at the same time, let these guys write their own story. Maybe one of them goes on with the Nationals and just crushes it. Absolutely. All right, let me keep going. Thad, I don't know if you're still hanging out. Andrew, appreciate you, man. Do I think Robbie Alstrom has a shot at being in the opening day bullpen? Yeah, I do. Andrew, I do. I think that Alstrom, Gray, I think guys that pitched really well last year in AAA absolutely have a shot. 100%. Thanks for the comment, man. I need to keep getting better at checking Instagram. I really do. Yeah, he probably will move up. Rangers enthusiast, that's a good point. Mace, you're 100% right on here. The Rangers have a lot of pitching depth. They do have a ton of pitching depth. I think hitters, you're hoping a few more guys step up hitting-wise, but I think the pitching depth is outstanding. Clearly, you've got Walcott, but from there, it's a pretty big drop-off to Josh Owens. Josh Owens is kind of the next guy, and he's at number 9 on the list. Then you've got Rodriguez. You got Malcolm Moore. You've got Yofran Castillo. Dreiling. You've got a number of guys in the teens right now. Again, we don't take a crazy amount of stock in the prospect list, but I think pitching, there's a lot of depth there. I agree with that for sure. CY is doing a horrible job. We could offer that package to the Brewers and got Freddie Peralta. I'd be curious to see if you're right on that. I don't know if that's the case. And look, there's some other factors with Freddie Peralta as well, but I'm okay with MacKenzie Gore. I don't think that by any means you should be turning your nose up at MacKenzie Gore. No. Real excited about Wyatt. He's a big bat now. If he goes 25, I would love if he went 30-30 TLC. I'm speaking it into existence right now. Yeah, Brian, I think he's coming to a hitter's park. He is going to be coached up, I think, by a better pitching staff. You got a couple of great guys in DeGrom and Evo in the rotation already to help mentor him, bring him along. He's got some good, solid advanced stats, gets a lot of swing and miss, and he's pitching in a place where fly balls to the outfield kind of go to die. And he is a bit of a fly ball pitcher if people are making contact off of him, but I think there's a lot to like about Gore. Do I think Walcott gets his chance if Carter gets injured or Young doesn't perform? Yes, I think, let's say there's a world where Josh Smith and Josh Young each are really scuffling. I do think there is a potential they bring up Walcott. I think it kind of depends on how Walcott does. I kind of brought this up last year. Mike Trout, 2011. He had struggled in Double-A the year before. And much like Walcott, Walcott struggled a little bit in Double-A this year. And then that second year after the promotion, Trout really took off. I would love to see that happen with Walcott. Scuffled a little bit in Double-A in 2025, hoping he takes a really massive step in 2026. Yeah, that is the thing with Peralta. More of a rental type, and you've got more years of control, 2 years of control with Gore. That's huge. Absolutely huge. 30-30-30 would be big time, Matt. I think he absolutely is a candidate for that. What starting pitchers are coming back for sure? Anyone know? Are you talking about the Rangers rotation? Rangers rotation is probably going to be, I think, in this order. DeGrom Evo is going to be tough. I think DeGrom. I think then you go Evo. I think after that is obviously going to be Gore. I think they'll go lighter, number 4. And I think you round it out probably with Jacob Latz as number 5. And look, depends on maybe Kumar Rocker's spring training. Maybe he could be number 5 with a great spring. And then you move Latz into the bullpen kind of as a spot starter, long relief type role, kind of a catch-all role. Look, we'll see what happens. But I do think right now it's shaping up pretty nicely with Gore. I think you're going to instantly be in the running for best rotation in baseball. Jasper, I think that they are the best rotation in baseball. Who's better? Like, I mean, that is my big question here. Who's a better rotation right now? I mean, the Mariners were brought up. I don't think the Mariners are better. I think that the Rangers have the best rotation in baseball. Brian, I hope you're right on this one. I hope we treat Walcott a lot better than Trout for sure. Cody Bradford is a potential. I think Cody, like it or not, I know a lot of people are high on Cody Bradford. I like him too. He might be outside looking in depending on the results of the guys that are starting the season healthy. I think he might be a guy that you can bring up and maybe he starts out in the bullpen and maybe eventually he gets his shot as a starter. I don't think there's a big time need for Cody Bradford right now to come in and be a dude in the rotation. I think you've got enough pieces. Cody Bradford's really going to have to earn it. And like I said, he had a great run at Globe Life Field in 2024. He struggled on the road. The home road splits for Cody Bradford in 2024 are not super pretty. But I like Cody, and I think that if he can get healthy, maybe they throw him back in the bullpen and allow him to kind of get the feet wet there, and maybe he gets an opportunity eventually. I just don't see them throwing him right back into the rotation. I think he's going to have to earn it a little bit. I think you've already got guys in 2025 like Latz. Matt, appreciate you bringing this up. Like Latz that earned it. I don't think there's any denying Jacob Latz earned a shot last year at the rotation. Cody Bradford, like it or not, he's been injured. And when you're injured and you come back from a long layoff, he might be able to get back to form, and I hope he does. But why would you give him the nod over a guy in Jacob Latz that proved to you he can be a reliable starter in 2025. Jacob Latz, you remember, went toe-to-toe with Tarek Skubal on Sunday Night Baseball. ESPN, man. Latz had some great outings last year. I just don't think you're easily going to take that spot away from Jacob Latz. Maybe Kumar Rocker with a great spring training could. And if Jacob Latz doesn't have a great spring training, okay. But I think it's going to be probably Jacob Latz or Kumar Rocker in that 5 spot. And Cody Bradford maybe on the outside looking in. Maybe a bullpen guy, at least until someone goes down with an injury or something of that nature. I do think Mace, we're in lockstep on this. I think Latz is your number 5. I think it's very clear that it's his spot to lose. Kumar Rocker, it might be his spot to earn. And then after that, I think Cody Bradford is a bit on the outside looking in, minus without some really bad performances or injury. And I don't think anybody's hoping for that. Yeah, I think Brian, again, totally agreed on this one. All right, y'all. What else we got? What if Rocker is the closer? Hunter, I just don't see it. I think he's infinitely more valuable as a starter to the organization. Maybe you could trade Bradford for a bat. I do think that actually has some merit and logic to it. You kind of got a bit of an excess of starting pitching that's major league ready. Could Cody Bradford be a throw-in as a trade chip at the deadline? I think that there is some validity to that. I don't quite know what the Rangers' long-term plan is with Cody Bradford, but if you get him healthy, you get him throwing pretty well in the bullpen, you know he's got the length to be a starter. That could be an option. 7, 8, 9 in the bullpen is going to be interesting. I think Junis obviously fits in somewhere in there. I think Robert Garcia is probably going to fit in somewhere. I feel like Cole Winn probably fits in. And then Curvelo Corniel potentially. Depends on who else they throw into the mix, but I think that they've got some figuring out to do in spring training. Who's going to take 7th, 8th, 9th? I see the 7th and 8th being more mix and match, honestly. I'd love to see them lock down a 9th inning guy, but it's not going to shock me if they go into the season closer by committee again. I really don't want to see it, but I think that's what it's going to be. There will most likely be an injury at some point, even if it's a couple weeks. You're probably right, TLC. So it is good to have the depth, no doubt. It's good to have the depth. What about the lineup? What if Jock Berger and Young don't perform again? We would probably it would probably be a trade, right? I mean, let's say Berger, Jock, let's say those guys are not doing very well. I think at that point you're hoping that the team can stay afloat, and then maybe you make some kind of move at the deadline. But honestly, this is why I want to see the team be proactive right now. Get some insurance. Get some rebound insurance. If one of these guys or more than one of these guys don't rebound, you've got an Andujar. You've got an Arise that can step in and take at bats and take some pressure off of the guys that are expected to rebound. I'd love to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm hopeful that the Rangers can add one more bat of quality. Thoughts on Spores? Legend. I know the stats don't necessarily back it up, but he's the guy that closed out the World Series for us, man. He's going to be a Rangers legend forever for just that fact alone. I'd love to see Sporesy really be able to find the velocity in AAA. Maybe he finds it in spring training and Spores gets added to the 40-man. That could be a very strong possibility. We'll see what happens. Wynn, I think, has earned a shot to be a high leverage guy. Matt, I threw out Wynn as a potential closer at the beginning of the offseason. I do think that he has got some plus stuff, got to figure out the walks, but I think that Cole Wynn could be a high leverage guy for sure. Jamie, appreciate the heart, man. Thanks so much. A lot of mediocre options for second base. Dave, I think it's going to be Josh Smith. I don't see anybody else overtaking him. Cody Freeman, look, I love Cody. I'd love to see him have a killer spring and really make it tough on Skip and on the front office. But I think Josh Smith probably earns it, and then it's his to lose. If he doesn't perform, then yeah, go ahead and you send in another one of the little rascals into the mix. Remember, you've got Haggerty that can play second base. You've got Mike Hellman that can play infield. You've got Cody Freeman. You've got Zeke Duran. There's so many options. I think Josh Smith is really going to have to lock that spot down. He's going to have a lot of guys breathing down his neck for second base time. Absolutely. We'll see what happens. Let me see. What else we got? Rangers got fleeced in the trade. Absolutely not. They didn't give up a single prospect in the top 100. Come on now. Sam Haggerty believer. Weston, love it. Love it. I think that Haggerty, or Swaggerty, as we like to call him here at Right on Rangers, I actually got that from some of the Mariners guys that follow the channel here. Good people by and large. Look, never loved playing the Mariners. They're a good team, and we always have trouble with Seattle. So I love going back and forth with different Mariners fans, but they told me Swaggerty was a thing, so we stuck with it, man. I like it. So Swaggerty to me is a guy that probably is going to plug in at different times at different positions. You've got a lot of guys that can step up for Josh Smith if he struggles. So Josh is really going to have his work cut out for him. I think Josh Young, same thing. You've got a Cody Freeman that can play third base. You've got a Jake Berger that can play third base. Let's say, things aren't going great for Josh Young. Maybe you move Jake Berger back to third, and then you've got other players that can step in and play first. They've got a number of guys that can play first base. We'll see what happens. Keep going. Gavin Fien might be a stud, but nobody knows that. There's so many examples of first-round picks that never make it to the major leagues. So we can say Gavin Fien is going to be a stud all day long, and I'm surely not hating on the guy, surely not doubting that he can be a good ball player, but I think the odds are against a lot of players that get drafted. Even the guys that get drafted, some of them never see the big leagues. Nobody that the Rangers traded was in the MLB top 100. They have two players, Walcott and Scarborough. And neither one of those guys is going to the Nationals. From that perspective, yes, the Nationals got 5 prospects. None of them are top 100 prospects. All right, we keep on rolling. Appreciate all you guys. I am going to take off. We've been going an hour and 22. Me and the fam got to figure out something to eat around here. I appreciate all you guys, all the comments. A bunch of y'all followed during the live. Thank you so much. Look, we'll keep doing these emergency pods as needed. We go out and get a Rise. We go out and get Andujar. Look, hopefully tomorrow we're doing another one of these. And the Rangers have made another big move. Would love it. Would absolutely love it. Thank you for all y'all that became a member or a subscriber of the channel. It, by the way, is the only thing I've monetized. $2.99 a month. You get access to our exclusive Right on Rangers Discord, which is amazing. That's an incredible community of people. You want to be a part of the Discord, become a subscriber on TikTok, $2.99 a month, or a member on YouTube, also $2.99 a month, and we will get you right into that Discord. You'll love it. Well worth the money, and it goes for a good cause. Supporting me. We're trying to get this to a full-time gig at some point in the near future. I would love it. Look, I love what I get to do right now, but look, this channel is a big-time passion of mine. It's something that has gotten a little bit bigger each year, and you guys are a big part of that, so thank you. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Whew, been a long week. Thursday evening, and maybe we'll see you soon. We'll probably have a video out on our new acquisition, MacKenzie Gore, probably tomorrow at some point. Don't think I'm going to be able to get it out today, but tomorrow I think I'll throw that video out there. And then who knows, maybe another emergency pod in the near future. Hoping so. All right. Love y'all. Have a great rest of the night. As I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.